All right, sister's gonna go in the back because we're gonna chat for a little bit. And she has her string cheese and her little wand from Diana Vining, which was so sweet. Her cocoa melon wand. All right, you go hang out with your Scandlers. Say hi. Say I love you so much. She's so cute. Hi. Hello. It is so good to see you, and a special warm welcome if you're new here. Hi, my name is Rachel Hoffman. I own and operate Virtual Doll Convention and Turn of the Century Antiques, which is our doll shop out here in Denver, where we live and work and film stuff and just do all kinds of stuff. And dolls, it's usually always doll stuff. We do a lot of baby stuff. So if you don't like babies, you're on the wrong channel. Now, I didn't think I would post so much about my baby, but she's a huge part of my life and our life here, and we post about it now. So it's kind of funny because I always loved children, but I was never like a huge baby person really, and because they just always seemed like just a ton of work. I always thought they were cute and everything. They were never really my thing as much until I had one. And I think that's probably the story with a lot of people, because now that I have one, I love all babies. Every baby. I never met a baby, I love all babies. I think once you get one, it's kind of like, I don't know, your first doll. Once you get one, you love them all, right? If you can identify. Don't get me wrong. I've always loved children. I actually taught Sunday school at my church for 12 whole years. I taught every grade from 3rd through 8th. It was a lot of work and I loved it, and I did it for a long time, and then they redid the program and I stopped, but it was really good. So hello, hi. It's been a while since I've done a chat, a vlog, or whatever you might call it, and I have some coffee right here, and maybe you have a little something to sip on and we're just hanging out here. This is a really good video if you like to sew while you watch our videos, or you like to clean or do stuff. It's kind of like a talking head video where like my head's here and we're talking, but we'll show some other stuff and do some other stuff. But I really wanted to catch up with you and let's just see what's going on. So as that you're seeing this right now, we have launched our holiday capsule collection for the Virtual Doll Convention for our Elowen, Nima, and Grace dolls. And we are very, very busy right now shipping your December Club Grace subscription boxes. Our subscription goes through February, and then we take a couple months off and then we start again. So yes, we are starting again. If you were wondering, I have already ordered all of the fashions for the 2023-2024 season, which is so crazy to even think about. But during that time off, because the subscription boxes, I gotta get a sip of coffee. I'm launching in, but this smells really good. I just made it. Oh, and this mug, I've had it forever. It's a cat. It's kind of crude, but it's funny. It's a cat with his middle fingers up saying, I do what I want. It was a gift from one of my friends like 15 years ago, and I use it and I love it. So raise your hand if you have a collection of mugs. Mugs are so much fun. When Holland Diane was first born, believe it or not, I got so much more work done, like doll shop work. Now I work very hard taking care of the baby, which if I fill my day taking care of her, it's the same level, if not harder work than doing my doll stuff, which is oftentimes at a computer where I'm sitting and doing things rather than running around and chasing a baby. But when she was first born, she slept a lot. They slept throughout the day. She would take multiple naps throughout the day that were several hours a piece, sometimes here at the shop when she was first born. And in that first couple months, she'd sleep almost the whole day. She'd wake up to eat and then she'd go back to sleep. And now it's not like that. She just turned 1 on November 11th. And we had a fun celebration here at the doll shop. I went overboard, as you know, not overboard. It was fun and wonderful with her picnic. I was really looking forward to. I figured out what made her upset, and it was the dress that she had on. It was a little scratchy and she couldn't walk around and move as easily as she normally does in her other clothes. And so I think that's what it was, but she was so grouchy for our picnic. She was so mad and so angry, and it was not at all how I envisioned it, because I was planning that doll shop picnic here for like a solid month and arranged everything, and the carrot cake was really, really good. As if you saw that video's like 4 or 5 videos back, and you can see that video. It was hard. And as parents, that's just one thing that you get the hang of real quick, is that things, and just kind of in life in general, actually, things don't always pan out the way that you envisioned. And as a parent, you have to hold it lightly. I hold it very lightly. Even on Thanksgiving, we went to a friend's house during the day, and the food looked wonderful and everyone was hanging out and enjoying themselves. But Holland Diane was grouchy, and she's usually not. She's usually in a really good mood, and I don't know if it was because we were in a new place or a new environment, or sometimes they just are, and she's teething every single day. Her teeth have come in a little bit more, and that's really painful. So maybe her teeth were growing, but that whole time, like, I couldn't relax. I was just on edge trying to just comfort her, and then I ended up leaving before the food was even served because she was just being real fussy, and that's no fun to be around if they're not your baby. When it's your baby, it's like, it's not fun, but it's different. When it's not your baby, and on Thanksgiving, and they were a lot of people I didn't know, so we left because I wanted people to enjoy their holiday. And then we ended up having dinner that night, which went fine, with my dad next door. I hold it lightly because from minute to minute, hour to hour, things could change. And one of the things that I just am so grateful for my life right now is that I have the capacity to kind of roll with it. Yes, there are certain things for my business that I have to get done, like no ifs, ands, or buts. I have deadlines, and sometimes I get up and do things like way before the sun comes up. But for the most part, I can really gauge how much I can get done during her nap time or while she's with Stanley. So right now, she's with Stanley in the back room watching their show and hanging out and playing guitar and playing their keyboard and everything. And so one of us is working. Usually one or the other is working. So, but what a blessing. So it's been a while since I've just caught up like this with you, and I wanted to do that. So we have released several videos that were from our Better Together virtual doll convention on this channel. And I have a lot more of them, probably like 8 or 9 more that I'm gonna just sporadically release in the next couple of months. But our other videos were mostly unboxings or product launches, and we haven't had any reality show type videos. And just to catch up, our wonderful Linda she is busy doing her seminar that she does at her place where she teaches all kinds of wonderful doll things. And then she also had a knee surgery, and she is doing much better, and it's going to be a long recovery. So she hasn't been at the shop, so we haven't been focusing as much on our antique and vintage dolls. But it's been actually really good timing because she needed to get this done. She was in a lot of pain. Coming to work was no fun. It was really hard. It hurt my heart to see her limping around. So she's doing a lot better and in physical therapy. And when Linda's here, I like to spend as much time with her as possible, filming, chatting, talking, doing projects. She's here a limited time. She does not work here full time by any means. So when she's here, I really try to make the most of that time together. And so lately, just in the last few months, we've had so much going on with the subscription and the mix and match sale that we just did, and with all the wigs and just everything. So it's just been good timing. But after the Grace subscription ends in February, we spend like 2 whole months doing antique and vintage dolls. And I'm excited to do that, one, because I have so many that are waiting for their moment. We have a temporary storage unit that I rented that I thought was going to be for 1 month while we did our renovation in July. And I thought I'd give it back maybe in 2 months. And of course it's still here and it's full. I really want to get in those boxes and look at the things. And I have so many things that I want to get to. And of course I want to be sharing all of those things too. And filming on top of it is a lot, but it's so important to our business and to me and us that we can share and communicate and engage with each other. I used to, back in the day, not back in the day, but several years ago, when my mom and I were running this business, and basically my mom was running the business and I handled our website and I did a lot of our marketing and I did a lot of customer service, but I wasn't running the company. We were always constantly traveling to doll shows across the country, traveling to doll auctions, constantly traveling. And now the business for us has shifted, and it was a mandatory thing for us because I wanted to get pregnant and have a baby. And you can't be doing that if your business depends on traveling to trade shows every couple of weeks and being on a plane all of the time. So we shifted our business to basically like a virtual doll shop where I do videos on this YouTube channel. I think, gosh, we have hundreds and hundreds of videos, but for a while there, especially when I was pregnant, man, we were uploading like 2 or 3, 4 a week, which was amazing. And I've missed it so much. And so I really want to get back into it. And sometimes I overthink the video, like it has to be this grand thing with this huge, huge thing in it. And it really doesn't. Sometimes we can just have videos where we sit and chat and look at dolls and talk about life. And those are some of the most special videos that I've done with, and that I think that you have enjoyed with me and with us just as a doll community. So it's really important for us to have those connections. And when I got here today, Stanley said, like, what's on the agenda today? And we have so much to do, but I was like, the first thing I got to do, Stanley, is I gotta chat with my peeps. So that's what we're doing right now. And when I say we're really busy, I mean it. I am so proud of what Stanley and I have been able to accomplish. Christopher Johnson, he is our wonderful stylist. He does so much with the dolls and the fashion and so much incredible good stuff for us. He is a full-time makeup artist at MAC Cosmetics. No surprise. He does beautiful makeup, and he is a doll collector, and he came here because he was a doll collector and wanted to visit, and he had visited a few times, and then he was saying that he needed a part-time job, and I just was like, do you want to work here? And I don't normally do that. We have such a small, tiny little shop, and you got to just find the exact right person and personality, because we're just on top of each other, and we work very closely with each other. And but it's been working out great. And so, but some days he's here like 2 or 3 days a week, full days, and some days one. There's been a couple times none. And the timing of all that, when we had like our last mix and match sale, and we had all those Elowen wigs that we sold and Nema wigs, Stanley and I, in 2 weeks, and I am so proud of us, we shipped, gosh, and thank you so much. If you're one of our customers and you purchased those wigs, we really needed to sell them. I had so many. I ordered so many because I wanted everyone to have the wigs that they wanted. And I probably ordered a little too many because we sold a lot of them, but I still have a decent amount. I just wanted everyone to get their wig, so I just went crazy. But thank you for purchasing a wig if you did, or whatever you did. But we, the two of us, Stanley and I and the baby, shipped probably like 600 things. And that's not to sound braggadocious or anything like that. A lot of the orders were just one wig or one something. We combined as much as we could. And some days we could get like 150 orders out, and some days when they were like really tricky orders and we had to pull a bunch of stuff. And by tricky, it means you bought a lot, and you have to go and get everything and combine, do all that. We'd get out maybe like 30 in a day, working all day. And then in the afternoons, Miss Holland Diane gets very cranky and has to have her nap. Sometimes I go and put her like in the car and drive around until she falls asleep. And I've sat in the car for like 2 hours. I depending on like if it's the temperature, I usually can just sit there in the shade, or just right now the temperature is great, so I don't idle in my car because that's really bad for the environment, but we just sit there and she gets her nap. Or the best is when she can do nap on Stan, when she sleeps on Stanley in the back, and that's really nice. She does that sometimes now, not all the time, but sometimes. So it's been such an adventure. In 1 year, she just turned 1. We went from a baby that slept half the day to now is the busiest baby and is into everything. And if she sees something, she will pull it over and pull it down and get into it and open a box and pull out all the stuff. And it is so fun. It is a lot of work, and you always have to be, especially at the doll shop, constantly. She never not has her eyes on her for her safety, our eyes on her for her safety, and for the doll's safety, for the safety of the dolls and the safety of the baby. We just always have our eyes on her, and we're just literally standing right there, because I would just be so devastated if I let her break one of my precious dolls or spill something on them or just whatever. So we're just super, super, super careful. And I grew up in this doll shop. My mom had her first doll shop before I was even born, and then she opened this doll shop when I had just turned 3. And I grew up in a doll shop, in this doll shop, and then in the smaller one up the street before. And I had my moments. There were definitely a few times when I was very naughty here, but I was purposely being naughty. I was kind of a naughty little girl. I really like to get into stuff. I see a lot of that in Holland Diane, and it is so cute. But I knew at a very young age what was appropriate kind of to play with and what not. If I got into something I shouldn't, I knew I shouldn't. I usually didn't, but I will teach her. We will teach her about antique dolls. We will teach her about being gentle and breaking things. And that's one of the reasons why I really loved Raggedy Ann right in the beginning, is because she was always a doll that I could play with and drop or whatever. And it wasn't the end of the world like the French and German bisque dolls and fashions that we have here and that my mom has and had. If we broke one of those, like some of them, it would literally feel like the end of the world for a period until you recovered from that. It's devastating to break a doll. Devastating. That's one of the fun things about the modern dolls that we do, is that there is so much pressure taken off for me just with all of it, from playing with them to accidentally dropping them to one falls off of a table to even the shipping process. You can just kind of slap a label on them and put them in the mail because they're padded so well in the boxes. It's just a totally different process from the antique and vintage industry. Right there, I just want to, because I'm thinking about it, we do vintage and antique dolls here. We do. The thing about it is that it feels like we're just doing modern. Is when wonderful antique and vintage dolls come my way, you bet your behind I'm buying them. But I only have the capacity to do so much. And right now, most of the time, it is Stanley and myself and Christopher a few days a week, Linda when she comes back, and that's it. And I don't want to take on more responsibility as far as staffing, because some days, like, I can't be here all day. Some days, depending on what's going on, I can't come here at all. And I can't have a full staff that is relying on, they already rely on me enough, and I don't want to hire more. So I'm trying to do everything that I can do here while operating at a lower capacity. And that means I don't get as many things photographed and I don't get them listed on the website, even though I really want to, even though the stuff is here. I don't buy as much because we don't sell as much, and literally I have temporary storage right now. So it has to be really pretty rare and special for me to buy it anymore, just because if I already have multiples of the same thing, then I usually don't buy it. And I give the people that inquire, a big list of like other places that they might possibly be able to sell their items. So my mom used to love to buy everything. That was actually one thing that we would knock heads about, is that she had a very hard time saying no to anything, and she bought everything. And so I don't know how long you have been with me as friends here on this channel and just in my life at the doll shop, but when Mom passed, I had taken over the company. It's hard to say because there was no passing of the torch, like, Rachel, it's your time, you're taking over. I started to just step in when my mom started to get Alzheimer's, and we didn't know that it was Alzheimer's, when weird things were happening. Some of the weird things that started happening are just in the very beginning. And like I said, we didn't know that it was Alzheimer's. We chalked a lot of it up to just, oh, she's getting older, she's getting more forgetful. But just in the beginning of it, she used to do things like she would pray the rosary in her car and out front of the shop. And we didn't know that she would be out there, and she'd be out there until like 2 or 3 o'clock. And we closed at 5, and she'd come in at like 3:30. And then we closed at 5. She wouldn't have been in the shop all day. And so we're trying to make all the decisions and do all the things and answer the questions. And you can't run a business without a manager, without a leader, without somebody to rely on. And we did well. I have been in this business and at this doll shop for my entire life. I knew what to do in a lot of the situations just because I had been working alongside my mom for my entire life. I did jewelry, I did appraisal work, I did all kinds of other little odd jobs. I was even a spokesmodel for Coors beer, and I loved that job too. I did that for about 5 years, and I did all kinds of other things to make money. I worked here at some capacity, always at least part-time. And then after my mom started kind of changing is when I knew that I had to either just commit and be all in, because things were just kind of going a little haywire, a little weird. She'd be praying the rosary or listening to, she started to get super religious towards I was raised Catholic, we're Catholic, I went to a Catholic school. When the Alzheimer's really started, and my mom's always loved church and loved God, and I love that about her. But when it started, she would do the rosary in the car, she would listen to mass on the radio in the car. And that was a really, and I don't know if maybe she knew something was happening and she just wanted to get closer to the Lord, but she started to do that a lot. And then other little things like she would hang up the phone without saying goodbye. And she always would say goodbye and say something sweet. And she was just such a sweet lady. And then when they just start hanging up the phone without saying goodbye, it's like, oh my gosh, what is that? That was weird. We had a lot of moments where you're just like, that was weird. Because my dad, he'll just like on a phone call sometimes when he's done talking, he just hangs up the phone. And that was one of her biggest pet peeves about my dad. And then she started doing it. And so little things like that she would get when we traveled. The plane tickets would be for the wrong date or the wrong year. Or she'd buy tickets to Disney on Ice for her and Paul, and it was for in another city. So stuff like that started happening, and for us, for the employees around here. And so at that time we had several employees. It was Stanley, it was his wife Pam, it was me, we had Linda, we had Lucy at the time. So we had like 5 and 6 between full-time and part-time, like 6, 7 employees that did various things, and it became to feel really unstable. I remember saying to my dad one day, we need to get mom checked out. Like, this just isn't normal. She was forgetting birthdays and just the oddball, kind of the odd behavior. And then once we got the diagnosis and everything, they moved very, very, very fast. I didn't plan for this video to be about my Alzheimer's journey with mom and everything that transpired there. I think that could honestly be its own video, because I know a lot of you out there are dealing with that in your life. It's a very common thing, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and it's something that I've never been afraid to talk about. And one thing about my mom is that she was never afraid to talk about it. She told anyone and everyone that she had it. And at first I was like, oh my goodness, maybe we should keep this between us. And she'd just tell everybody. And one of the things that I think is just absolutely wonderful about that, though, is because when it was happening, I kept it very close to my chest. I only told my closest people because I was trying to cover. I don't know how else to say it other than I was trying to cover. And I just said, oh, things are great. Things are totally just fine, when they weren't. And I think that that's normal too. But once I told the world, once I told everybody, once I shared that, a weight was lifted and people were so amazing. And then when I started to take her to doll shows, towards the end, we went to doll shows, not because it was good for the business, but because because it was a huge part of my mom's life and she loved going to doll shows and to do that. And so I'd sign up and take her to doll shows when it was a huge undertaking and I knew we weren't going to make any money or do anything, because it was almost like we just went to go, when like the best thing for maybe the health of the business to make more money would be to stay home and list stuff online. But I took her. I'm so glad I did. Towards the end, in that last year, we went to convention, like after she quit talking. We went to several doll shows and it was hard, but I don't regret a second of that. But yeah, like I said, there was no passing of the torch. It just started to evolve to where one day my mom came up to me and she asked me what she could do during the day. Like, she said, how can I help today? And my mom before all of that started, she was a very, very savvy businesswoman. She knew what everyone was up to in her shop. If you were goofing around or whatever, like, she wasn't like on top of you all the time. Like, she was a very gracious boss, but she had jobs lined up every morning. There was she would have notes for everybody, and there was definitely like an order, and she was running the company. And the day that she asked me what she should do, I was shocked. my jaw dropped. Even though we were at that place, it was still just such a shocking thing. And from there on, I just thought, well, it was almost like permission to run it my way, but not really. That went on for a couple of years. And then after my mom went to heaven, the pandemic had just started. It was in full force. My mom passed away from COVID. She was very deep into her Alzheimer's at the time. She knew who I was. She knew who we all were. I still had a nice life with her. I still enjoyed her. It was hard, but it was never unmanageable for us. It was getting there. But my dad and I, we packed our lunch every day. We switched off days where we made it work. When she passed, when she went to heaven, that's where I kind of thought that I had the right to do what I needed to do for the business. And I just couldn't do it while she was alive, because she wanted all this stuff around her. She wanted she wanted everything around her, just so much of it. And I never felt right selling it until it was mine. And she left it all to me. And I didn't feel bad about it either. Right in the beginning, after about 12 weeks, where I just spent a lot of time going through paperwork, going through what was here, I walked back into the store like it was almost the first time, and I made a plan, and we got a dumpster, and there was so much, and we didn't throw away anything good. We threw away a lot of trash, just old records, boxes and boxes. We recycled tons of it. My gosh, it was unbelievable, and we were at it for months. And then at the same time, we put a new roof on the building, which was $35,000, and we needed a roof so bad. We had needed a roof like 15 years ago. We sent a ton of stuff to auction, and that stuff that we sent to auction paid for a really good chunk of the roof. I actually still have some stuff, but we sent away a lot, and it was such a relief. We still have tons of stuff here, but we could move, and I could get the roof. We had literally water coming in everywhere, buckets everywhere. My mom never wanted to buy a new roof, and it would upset all of us. Like, why? Like, just do it. Like, nobody wants to spend that much money on a roof, but you can't work and be in a business with literally water gushing in. We'd go up during snowstorms and rainstorms and change out the bucket multiple times throughout the day in the attic and bring it down the stairs from the attic. Can you imagine? But that's what we did for years. And it wasn't until the rain really messed up a very rare brew in her original trunk and trousseau, and it molded, and I didn't know, and I was like so devastated, and I called the roof people the next day. She was still alive when I did that. And then we put on the roof. It was like 4 or 5 days after she passed is when they started construction on the roof. And that was crazy. So fast forward, we did all of that and got everything done. And in the midst of that, in 2019, I had launched the virtual doll convention. And that's been a whole thing in itself. It's been a whole adventure, a whole wonderful thing. We've done 8 events, and we continue to do so much. And we have worked with some incredible artists, and we manufacture and offer amazing products. And that in itself is, I thank the virtual doll convention and all of our customers every single day, literally every single day. If you're one of our customers and you have registered or shared or done anything and purchased something, I could not be here if I wasn't selling that product and selling those things. I am so thankful every day. If I wasn't generating that money, I would have to sell this place. I would have to sell everything and just move on. It's incredibly expensive to own a brick and mortar store and to have employees and to do all that. It's literally like, I had no idea how much it was until I started doing it myself, and I was just like shocked. It's grown-up money. I never understood grown-up money really until I took over this and started it and started paying those bills with money I earned. And it's a whole different ball game. And every day I'm so thankful. Every day. My mom left me this incredible company. The pieces of the pie, like the pieces of the puzzle to be super successful if I applied myself and figured it out. The way that the business was, the model that it was going on, we would not. I remember the first time I called our bank just to see how much money we had. I always paid our bills, but I never worried about where the money came from. I was in marketing and did our website. Like it was a totally different thing. So now I'm just so grateful for the ways that we do it, the fact that I can run this company and this life and what we do here, and share dolls and have our friendships and do all this wonderful things through the computer, through our phones, through the TV. It is such a blessing, because if I had to go on the road and leave my baby who just turned 1, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I would choose my baby. So to the fact that I can do both and that I can have this and continue to have Stanley, he started here when he was 19 and he turned 64 in October. It's like amazing. I feel responsible, and not in a bad way. Like any business owner that has employees, like you care so much about them and you have a responsibility to them. Every day that we get to come here, we love our jobs and we get to do this. So I could go in a lot more. Maybe I will do a video just on Alzheimer's and how you can have a really beautiful life while you go through that experience. I feel really good right now, actually, because I just got through that whole video and I didn't cry. I wasn't even planning on talking about that today. I just wanted to catch up with you and talk about life and stuff. And normally that conversation would have sent me over the edge. It'll be 3 years in April that Mom went to heaven, which is wild, you know, that so much time has passed. But I'm getting better. I'm getting better. That grief can just jump up and nab you, for sure. But I think a huge part of my healing is just time and processing and walking through that grief and not around it and nibbling away at it like a piece of cheese. When it happened, I was just so intent on surviving it and making the best decisions and just doing the very best I could because I wanted my mom to be proud of me. I didn't want her to worry about me from where she was and worry about what I was doing. I just really wanted her to, she never said to me like what she wanted for this shop. For some reason I thought when she passed, I mean, it's such a crazy thought, but I've thought about it a lot where I thought, how could she pass and not take her things with her? Like her dolls, because they were, besides her children and her family, dolls were the most important thing in her life. She was obsessed with them. Like we all, like a lot of us are. Just completely obsessed. She worked really hard to get them. She chased after them. She went around the country and around the world to get them. She was incredibly proud of them. And for some reason, like I knew she wouldn't for real, but I thought she'd take them with her. And then she just passed and like they were all here and I had everything and I had the shop and suddenly I didn't have somebody telling me what to do and what I had to do that day and getting mad at me for being late. And it was all here. It was all for me to have to do. And thankfully I've had Stanley to help guide me through that. And so many of you to chat with and to be friends with and share our grief and our experiences and learn together. It's just been a huge learning experience for me. And you guys have just been so gracious, so generous. Every day, it's almost like I receive something wonderful. I just really appreciate you so much. So much. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at my camera right now. I've been chatting for a while. I had all these plans about what we were gonna talk about, but we did talk about some stuff, didn't we? We did. I really have missed this. I have really missed chatting and hanging out. Now I know a lot of you come to my channel because you want to learn and to see and to do, and sometimes I get really caught up in what we're gonna film, and some days we're not fixing dolls. We're not doing a lot of the things that I think that you come to me for, which is doll repair and care and learning and history. Sometimes we're just here like with the baby and trying to get stuff shipped and figure things out and put out fires, and we're setting up for Christmas and doing all kinds of that stuff. But I think that stuff is really fun too. So I'm just kind of looking around and you can see a little bit. If there was ever a time that our shop comes to life and everything makes sense, it's at Christmas. It's at Christmas time. So I think what I should probably do, because this video's been kind of long, is maybe do another video kind of just showing you just our Christmas, what we did this year. It's none of it is things that are, besides like some of the Elowen stuff, I don't think is anything that you haven't seen before, maybe in like other videos, but we've set it all up different. So it all looks different. Everything is in a different spot, and we have Madame Alexander dolls, which we didn't have before. So those are new. And it's just different, and it's just, I think it's so beautiful. Christopher did it, and it's just gorgeous. And so maybe we'll do a different video with that, and we can go up close to the feather tree. The last time I really showed all this was in 2020 in December. So gosh, coming up on 2 years. And so thankfully we have a lot of new subscribers since then, and maybe it'll be new to you and we can show some of that stuff. So that I think will be the next video. We'll chat about and do some Christmas things and do more of a Christmas themed video. But for today, I really wanted to talk to you. I really wanted to chat. It was at the top of my list today. The top of my list is for us to chat and to have one of our conversations that I just love and miss so much. So I really appreciate you being here. If there's anything that you are curious about or that you want to talk about or that you think would be a great future video too, please put it in the comments. I love when you give me video ideas. Sometimes you ask for videos that I just cannot do, which is a lot of times just different repair work that we don't do or have never done or just don't have the capacity to do or whatever. But if it's something that we can do, I usually try and make that happen, or at least put it into the fold. I have a list on my phone of future ideas. And sometimes just the stars have to align, like the right people have to be here. I have to have like space and capacity with the baby and stuff, but we do try. And so we can always do stuff in the future too. So I love sharing, but I know the catching up videos are good too. So I really appreciate it. Again, if you're new here, a warm welcome to you. I am so thankful that you are here. You're never gonna see anything other than just actual life and how it is on this channel. I don't sugarcoat things. I don't try and make it look more beautiful than it is. Sometimes I see my videos and I'm like, oh, I should have cleaned that up or that pile or that mess. But as doll collectors, we really understand. Sometimes the shop looks pristine and beautiful and gorgeous. And sometimes, depending on what has come in the door or what we're unpacking or what we're doing, it can go from perfect, literally in one day, to the next day, just like a bomb that exploded. But it's normal. So when we have fun things happening like doll hauls or unboxings or special guests or something, I just try and have that camera close and make sure that we film it, because a lot of the things that have happened before I even started the career in videos are just so unbelievable. And if I had been documenting those things at the time, my goodness, some of the dolls and the situations and the unboxings and the experiences and the stuff that I learned, I wish that I was doing that at the time, but I just wasn't. So it's not gonna happen anymore though. I keep a GoPro in my purse and I have my phone as a backup too, in case. And then we have this big beast of a camera too that we do for our like major filming that we set up and everything. But anyway, I love you. It was so good to see you and chat with you a little bit. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for being here with me. If you enjoy this content and you like this video, then give me a big, huge thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, because hit the bell, because if you do that, then they'll email you and you won't ever miss a video, because I like to have you on all my videos, every single one. All right. From my dollhouse to your dollhouse, or from wherever you're tuning in from, I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Is this what you've been doing while Mama's been working and filming and talking?
Yeah.
Look at her eating her little...
It's like at the movies.
Oh, look at her eating her little puffs.
Like at the movies, but with a heated seat.
Oh, man. The heated Stanley seat and her favorite show, Cocomelon.
So we just been sitting
She
here.
is so funny. She looks like a grown-up person sitting there watching her show, eating her snack.
Mm-hmm.
Holland Diane. Thanks for watching her so I could chat with our friends, Stan. It was a fun chat. Look at her. All right, we ordered Chipotle today, and this is for the first time we ordered Holland Diane something. Whoa.
What you got
Rice
there?
and beans and a quesadilla.
What you got?
All right, we're going to have to break it up for her, but how exciting, Holland Diane. That's very exciting for our Holland Diane.
I'm gonna try some.
And because we talked about it, I have to show you. She's doing nap on Stan today.